The Free Speech Union recently celebrated our 4th anniversary. In those 4 years, we've helped 2,300 people in cases where they've been cancelled or punished. This case is one that everybody needs to pay attention to.
Why does China have so many slaves?
That question is at the heart of a case that has seen an academic reprimanded and her academic freedom curtailed after claims from a handful of Chinese students that this provocative question had left them feeling distressed.
One of the Chinese students stood up and in a slightly cross voice asked why I had asked such a provocative question.
That could have been the end of the matter, but instead, a few days later, Michelle went to try and communicate with her students via the online learning platform that the university department uses.
I found that all of a sudden I wasn't able to edit my own module, I wasn't able to upload my teaching materials, I wasn't able to email my students. One of my teaching colleagues had turned off my editing rights.
And was that the first moment where you thought, I'm in some kind of trouble here?
So I was quite dumbfounded about it. But after some time of backwardsing and forwardsing, I managed to get my editing rights reinstated.
That could have been the end of the matter.
Absolutely.
What happened next?
Teaching colleagues then really strongly pressured me, had a meeting with them, and I would say it was extreme insistence that I drop the exercise for future years.
There's an irony here as well. You were presenting this slide and you were asking your students to criticise it.
Yes.
Michelle then emailed some of her colleagues asking them to defend her right to academic freedom and to recognise the fact that her academic freedom had been infringed.
3 days later, I was told that there had been 2 report and support allegations submitted against me.
Your colleagues made a complaint against
Yes.
you anonymously.
Yes.
And they did so via this report and support portal, which
Yes.
is usually used to report sexual harassment, bullying, other forms of harassment, that kind of behaviour. And yet your email promoting academic freedom and saying it should not be curtailed was deemed to be sufficiently serious to go through the report and support procedure and then to be taken up by the department. Is that right?
Exactly right. These allegations included that I had done this challenging question in class, that I had picked up some cheating among a tiny number of students, and that included Chinese students, that I had done a social media post about academic freedom in China, and they were saying that it was a problem that I was asking my Chinese students questions in class, even though I ask all my students questions in class.
Michelle was then told via email, "We have a collective duty to ensure all students have a good educational experience at UCL, and in order to be commercially viable, our MSc courses need to retain a good reputation amongst future Chinese applicants."
If there was one or more students who were complaining, it was clear that they didn't have a good reason to complain. So the fact that staff added to those complaints, I was flabbergasted.
Michelle Shipworth has been asked not to tweet about China and told that doing so is too, quote, problematic. She's been told not to use China as a case study. She's been told that she can't teach her course. She's been told not to ask individual students questions in seminars. She's been told that her asking this question about slavery in China meant she needed to read university rules on bullying and harassment. And all of this justified on the basis that UCL needs its courses to be commercially viable, in their words, to Chinese students. The Free Speech Union has now written to the provost of UCL asking for all of these restrictions to be overturned immediately. There can be no basis for them, no defence of them. Michelle has the right to academic freedom, to freedom of speech, and we will defend that right.